They have other things as well, Scotty, not just strawberries. They have raspberries, and they have something else that I've forgotten.
Okay, I can't have raspberries though with my indigestion system. It'll go right through me, Gordon.
Have you guys ever had bilberries before?
Pardon?
Bilberries.
Bilberries?
Is that?
So.
Are you making it up?
Bilberry. You're making that. That's fake news.
No, it's basically the Yorkshire blueberry. They grow on the moors.
The what?
Yeah, same deal. You kind of go with leave with a purple face.
Where do they grow?
The moors.
Moors. There's an extra syllable in there.
Yeah,
like we can talk. World.
Worm.
I've said before,
Carol.
right?
Film.
The new metal band Korn, right? In Scotland, they're Corrin. Right, so it's like Victoria Corrin Mitchell, right? That's it. Corrin.
Let's roll with it because we don't want to risk going past midnight.
No, listen, that's the most. That's the advice that you should give anybody. I think.
Okay.
If someone asks you what words of wisdom can you give to somebody on your deathbed, that's exactly what it is. Do not go near cheese after midnight.
I'm just gonna go. All right, let's just get right into it. Let's go. All right. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Cheers. 3, 2, 1. Belch. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Dramfacers. Welcome to the Dramface podcast, episode 22. Officially, the cheesy one. Just held for dramatic pause.
I'm eating.
No.
I barely got a snigger.
This one.
You're getting ahead of yourselves. I know.
Roy's
We
chomping it down. Roy,
we
calm
held
down.
you back. We held you back, and now you're just released. Well,
That's so good.
hello everybody. How are we all?
Very well, thank you, Gregor.
Thank you. Yep.
It should be no surprise to the listeners. We are still joined by Rob Roy, Scott, and Gordon Fraser.
Hello.
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 Good stuff. Good to see you. Look, I'm gonna give a very big caveat to all the listeners. We apologise already for any of the lip smacking and audio eating, but this was an experiment that came up in a conversation in a previous podcast about a live whiskey and cheese pairing moment. Yeah, it's not even. So this podcast will really only be entertaining for you if you play along at home, and somebody needs to turn off their fucking phone.
Not me. Right.
Oh god, the wheels are off completely.
I know.
Stuff, isn't it?
And I was
I can't find my phone. It's my phone that's making the noise, and I can't even.
ping it. Find my phone. Send a ping now.
I know, that's what I'm doing, but I've only got 1 ear. Remember?
I know. I'm not being funny, guys, but can we speed this along? My dairy leaves melting.
Right.
Sorry.
We're good. We're good to go.
And also,
Right.
I think a few other caveats come on because just in case anybody's tuning in for any kind of whiskey and food pairing expertise here, can we just be clear at the outset that is not going to happen?
No, this.
It does, unless anyone else in here has some kind of expertise in the realm of pairing whiskies and cheese. This is pretty basic stuff we're attempting tonight, right?
Yeah, this is Noobs. Noobs do whiskey and cheese.
It's quite hard actually when you're drinking to actually get food accurately into your mouth in the first place, right? So that's the first hurdle we've got, right?
That's the goal. The goal of this episode is just to figure out how to consume cheese and drink whiskey. Anything else is a bonus.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe just a refresh for anyone. We set ourselves a task of finding four cheeses, and we're going to pair them against four whiskies, four types of whiskey. Those cheeses that you should have with you in front of you are a Parmesan, a blue cheese, a cheddar, and a Brie. And for the whiskies, you should have a sherried whiskey. We suggested a Glendronach 15, a peated whiskey, Lagavulin 16, an ex-bourbon Glenmorangie 10. I know how to say Glenmorangie. And a bourbon, Elijah Craig, Buffalo Trace, what have you. So maybe before we go straight into eating the cheese and go in ASMR mode, tell me what your four whiskies are and what your four cheeses are. Just just to see how far off we all are. So, Rob, what's your 4 whiskies?
So I've got a. So I couldn't match any of them, unfortunately.
That's good, because what my thing is, it's also a bit of learning of like, okay, we suggested this, but this might also be an idea as even just as a whiskey guide. So
Yeah.
go for it.
Wicked, yeah. Okay, so in place of the Glenmorangie, 10, I went for Linkwood 12, Flora and Fauna 43%. For my sherry, I've gone for Edradour Caledonia as a callback to last week. For my peated, I didn't have any. What?
Keep your face hole to the microphone.
Sorry, do you want me to do that again? I just keep looking at the cheese. Yeah, sorry. So the fumes of this blue cheese are knocking me out.
Just take it from the peated. I think it was the peated one you stopped.
Yeah, I don't have any Isla that kind of matched the Lagavulin 16, so I just went with one that I just enjoy, and it's the Glenturret 10-year-old.
Peat smoke, good.
Yeah, peat smoke. Yeah, and for my bourbon, I do have a Buffalo Trace, but it's only 40%. It's a bit weak. So I went for, again, calling back to last week, the one that I bought for myself and Stefan is the Buffalo Trace Kosher Wheated, which is essentially a Weller.
A Weller, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People are going nuts over that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, for the price, and I've only had 1 dram out of it, it is mind-blowing.
Oh,
And I've never had a Weller before. I've had 1 Wheater, and it was a larceny, and it didn't really fill with much confidence. But this is insane.
how
Very
so?
good.
Pardon?
How so?
How is it insane?
That sounded less inquisitive and more challenging.
This is the one that's got kosher in big letters.
Yeah.
Right, so this was
Kosher?
already in the Dramface writers chat, Gordon.
Oh,
And earlier in the week, somebody had sent it to me saying, Roy, have you tried this? What, offering to send a sample up? Just saying that it's nuts good. So I'd be interested to hear what's good about that. But aye, good lineup, a good choice, Rob.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Scott, what's your whiskey lineup?
Right, so I try to keep it kind of things you can buy fairly easily. You know what I mean, within nothing too extravagant. So for my bourbon one, I went for a Longmorn. It's a Carnmore first fill bourbon, 13-year-old, and it's at 47.5. My peated, I've gone for a Lachig 10 standard distillery bottle.
Ooh.
For my bourbon, I've gone for a Elijah Craig barrel proof, 68.3%. Batch
Whoa.
batch 120. It's going down pretty fast. And it just nick out the bottle.
Never mind the cheese after midnight. 68% after midnight.
Well, I've got some water here, so I'm responsible.
4 gallons.
Yes.
Holy moly.
I've filled the bath, right, so now the sherry dram was a challenge. I had to go into the cupboard, right to the back of the cupboard. It ended up in Narnia, right? But when I was at Mr. Tumnus's house, the fawn, right? He gave me a bottle of the same as Rob, and I came up with the Edradour Caledonian 12-year-old as well.
Very good.
It's the only sherry whiskey I have in my collection. A wee bit dusty, so we'll see how we get on with that. So that's my 4 drams for tonight.
Fantastic. Nice choices, Scott.
Thank you.
Gordon, what's your lineup of whiskies looking like?
So, I have, for a sherry dram, an right? I'll do that again.
No, that one was fine.
I have an Aberlour Abuna for my sherry dram,
Nice.
which is 61.5%, batch number 68. And then, for my peaty dram, I have an Ardbeg An Oa.
Awesome.
I know.
That's what I said.
I know.
No, you didn't know until he told you. You didn't know.
Look, I know. Right. For my fully bourbon Scotch, I've got an Ardnamurchan. Good Spirits Co. CK181.
And that would be an Ardnamurchan with a dangly.
Oh, it's got dangly. Hang on. And it's a blue bottle. It's a single cask, bottle number 158. So it's a bit special. You might not be able to get it. But when I was looking at my stash of things to pick 100% bourbon cask, I didn't really have any that stood out that I kind of wanted to go for.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then for my bourbon, I've got a Gregor McQueen bottle of Buffalo Trace Stag Junior Kentucky Straight Bourbon Barrel Proof New Charred White Oak, 63.9%.
Oh.
Nice. That sounds
The
amazing.
face of Scott Monroe.
I'm just trying to work out how many points that get you on a Scrabble board, right? You had me at Stag, right?
Great
That
stuff.
sounds amazing.
And the percentage again, sorry.
63.9.
Gee.
Okay, so Scott's the heavy hitter tonight.
So I purposely went for like lower end ABV. So I thought, well, I'm having 4 whiskey. I'm not eating cheese as well, but 4 whiskeys in one go. Like,
Trust me, the cheese will be hit you harder than the whiskey tonight.
So Gordon, just on that stag,
yes,
did Gregor give you that sample?
No.
I took it.
I took it from the bottle that you gave me that Gregor gave you.
Okay.
right.
Because that would have been a weird coincidence, right? If he'd sampled you the exact
Yeah.
same bottle
No.
that he'd gifted me, right?
When you said, I hate that stuff Gregor gave me and I hate him, you have it.
Yeah.
I took a wee 30ml sample just for posterity.
Well, you actually got a re-gift.
Gregor had wrote a wee lovely note to Roy as well, and it's saying, you're such a good friend.
What's really weird is, though, when you gave the bottle back to Roy, you'd scrubbed out Roy and written Gordon so that it looked like I'd written it to you. It's just a bit bizarre.
I hope that he didn't notice.
Well, I'm suddenly realizing that my ABVs are just not up to scratch
Are
tonight.
you changing
guys
your
are all-
lineup?
Can I-
No, I'll stick with the original lineup, but I did grab the stag just in case any.
Just in
instant
case
notes
the
came
other drams aren't enough,
Aye.
Aye.
which is
So-
fully over the edge.
What? Run me through your lineup then, Roy.
So my sherry cask, sherry matured pick tonight is Glenturret 12.
Mhm.
This happens to be the 2022 release, 46% ABV. Nice, rich, typical sherry style from Southern Highlands. Then I've got for my Isla pick, didn't go for the lager. I went for Ardbeg's 10-year-old.
Wait, that's a Freudian slip there because we just said peated, but you said my Isla pick. I love that your brain, as soon as you say Pete, it's Isla pick.
It's an absolutely fair point. In fact, as Rob's already pointed out, he managed to get a Highlander peated, and there's loads of other peated whiskies out there beyond Isla. You're absolutely right. He
All
doesn't
good.
need
I'm just poking fun.
Aye, I've gone for Isla. For my bourbon cask, I've got the last wee dribble, but the rest, I've got another dram in this bottle. Glencadam 10. Fully natural product. Absolutely love the stuff. Great value too, still. And then my bourbon pick, I've currently got in the glass. I was torn between, what was easily available in the UK, which Wild Turkey 101 is everywhere and it's always cheap and on a good offer. But in the end, I indulged myself a wee bit, and I went for a Four Roses single barrel. Roughly same ABV as the Wild Turkey 101. This is coming in at 50% ABV. And that's what's in the bourbon glass. And I've got the Stag on standby in case I need any energy a wee bit later on. Aye.
Love it. I love it. All good choices. I'll run through mine, and I will also run through my cheeses in one go. And then I think it would be good to go around the table one last time on the cheese selection, because then it gives a good picture for everyone.
Yeah.
So for my sherried, I stuck with the Glendronach 15. It's just a
Nice.
classic. It's just a classic. It was a new bottle as well. So let's see if the next
Keep
pour...
your face in the mic.
Oh, sorry. Let's see if the neck pour is a thing. For my ex-bourbon, I've got a Glenmorangie 10. For my Isla, I've got a Lagavulin. I have the Phage bottle that we all picked up, bottled in 2018. The
No.
non.
That's not a fish bottle. That's the distillery exclusive.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, my bad. I picked up the
Yes.
other one. Yeah, sorry. This is cask strength.
The fish bottle when we were there in 2022 was a howler.
That's right.
Oh, you
That's
got the
right.
staff pick.
Yeah,
Yeah. 53.5%.
excellent.
In truth, I'm only pouring that because I don't have any lag 16 because I am still on my bottle ban and I'm a good bottle banner, unlike Rob.
You need to start saying Lagavulin 16 because it'll just confuse people now if there's a 16-year-old lager.
Oh,
there,
lag,
people will go daft.
yes, very true, very true. And then I went for the lighter counterpart to Scott's bourbon. I have just the regular Elijah Craig,
Nice.
primarily because I've got some other stuff to do after this podcast. But yeah, that's my 4 set drams. For my cheese, I have a aged Parmesan. I can't even remember the name. It's a Costco number, but it's authentic, DOC certified. For my Brie, I have a Floret Goat Brie. In truth, I didn't realise it was a goat Brie when I picked it up, but that'll be interesting.
Nice.
For my cheddar, I actually combined 2 of the briefs, or one that Roy was kicking around, and I've gone for a smoked cheddar, Westminster smoked cheddar. And for my blue cheese, I've gone with a Rogue Creamery, you'll like this, Oregonzola Blue.
Oh, nice.
Oregonzola.
Oh dear.
So that's my 4. And then I will add, as soon as we're keeping on with all little sides, something that I think everybody needs when they're eating cheese. They call it different here, or it's membrio, but we all know it as quince. So I've got a wee tub of quince instead of a fruit, just to complement. And that would be my cheeses. Let's go in the same order. Rob, what cheeses you got lined up?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I jumped on the cheese VPub just to kind of reacquaint myself because again, I wasn't sure if I should be getting super high proof or just go low ends. But on there it was mentioned that we should an aged Parmesan. I really don't know what that meant, but I think it was a 30-month. So I went out and got myself a 30-month Parmesan. And then I got 2 cheddars just because the cheesemonger twisted my arm and he said I needed both. So I did. So I got a Black Bomber cheddar, which is actually got recommended by a friend, and then an Old Winchester. And then I got a Brie de Mew. I'm not going to, cut that out, please. I got a Brie of some description.
The mouth checked out from the brain there.
Just gave up.
Just gave a sound.
And then I know it was kicked around that we mentioned a Gorgonzola for a blue cheese or a Stilton, but I let the guy behind the counter he just decide, and he got me a Shropshire Blue, which actually looks like, I mean, somebody might shoot me down for calling it this, but it looks like a blue cheese red Leicester. It's got like a red tinge to it.
Very good.
Smells, yeah.
And it's been stinking out for a whole week between podcast recordings.
Yeah,
that's dedication.
As I said, like I've never sat in front of a plate of cheese for this long and not inhaled it. So my restraint, proud.
Scott, what's your cheese lineup looking like? Right, so I kind of went for kind of supermarket stuff. I've got a nice cheesemonger. 2 of them actually quite near me, and I've said before they do a lovely pecorino with truffle. But I'm not wasting that on you guys, right? So what I've done is I ram-raided Marks and Spencer, and I picked up a block of their Cornish Cruncher cheddar, which is really nice, kind of crumbly wee cheddar. I also got their Parmesan from them. It was an 18-month matured Parmesan. Blue cheese is up there with sherry whiskies as the devil's work. So I can't eat blue cheese. Right? Blue cheese it's just the worst thing ever, right? I can't eat it. Anyway, I got Saint Agur Blue, rich and creamy, apparently. I'm not sure about the creamy side of it, but it's or rich because it smells pretty cheap from where I'm sitting, right? But that just might be my taste. And the Brie is just a standard Brie. I love Brie. Brie's one of my favourite cheeses, so I've just picked up a massive block of it and put it between 2 pieces and get stuck into it. So that's my. I was going to get a smoked cheese, but I just thought, nah. So
fair play. I love how you oscillate between, expansive poetic explanations and then short, curt nah. It's good.
Thanks, Gregor. That's just the way I roll,
Gordon, what's your cheese lineup looking?
I'm not a cheese guy, right? I don't know anything about cheese. I don't purposefully go and pick cheese to eat. If it's there on a cheese board, I'll eat it and I'll think it's quite good. But so I went into Sainsbury's tonight to pick up the list and had a real dilemma because I didn't know what I was doing. And so I got a Parmesan that said DOC in it because I remember Gregor saying something about that being good. And then I got a cheddar, and then I got a blue cheese, and then I got a Brie.
Very good.
Nice.
You've answered the brief.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. I went on cost.
Can I just say as well? Just, you mentioned you Quince there, Greg. I want to go back. I didn't tell you my accompaniment, which is oatcakes. Just because I want to make my mouth even drier than it is just eating cheese. So any kind of noises you hear, it'll be just my teeth cementing themselves to each other as the evening progresses. Sorry.
Well, that's a point. Has anyone got crackers? Has everyone got crackers? Are you doing cracker cheese or just
no.
cheese?
I was told not to bring crackers. It's
Okay.
explicitly told no crackers.
Fair.
No one told me that. But I'm just eating them on the side. I'm not combining the two. I'm having them separate as a kind of palate cleanser between and to
Yeah, I mean, I didn't tell you explicitly not to bring them.
Well,
I just said that obviously there's might be a lot of kind of trying to speak through crumbs.
So, Roy, what's your cheese lineup looking?
Well, I went for convenience. I went for cost, and I went just to the local supermarket. I picked up a Parmesan, but I also picked up a wee Manchego because it's a favourite of mine. But it's been sitting out a wee while, and Manchego tends to sweat and go a wee bit waxy and slimy. But yeah,
a bit like myself.
yeah. So I've got those two in that category. I've got just Stilton, standard supermarket Stilton for the blue cheese pick. I got extra mature Cathedral, just a regular branded extra mature cheddar. I got whatever the generic Brie, that red and gold Brie pack, probably the same as the one that Gordon picked up. I just
no, I doubt that. I went for the lowest of the low.
right, okay. Well,
It was barely in a packet.
It was trying to escape.
Aye,
there was another Brie available that was just in cling film.
that was the one I went for.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, but it was all looking a wee bit sweaty and no very. So I went for the branded one, and I also threw in what looks awful. It looks like fake cheese. It looks really waxy and shiny. It's just it doesn't even tell you what kind of cheese it is, but it just tells you that it's German smoked cheese, and it just comes in a wheel, like just a wheel. You just peel it out the plastic, and it's plastic inside. But I have to say, I've been nibbling it, and it tastes absolutely fine. So I've got a smoked cheese as well.
Cheese / frisbee.
Aye.
But it's
So
quite,
have you
it's
and
quite
Greg
a
got
fat
surprise cheese then? Extra cheese.
They've got a fifth cheese, Rob. I had noted this.
I've got a
Yeah.
sixth cheese. I've
What?
actually got 6 cheeses. Yeah, I overspent.
No, I'm only on
Absolutely
4.
Crazy.
I'm on
Crazy
4.
Roy, you're a little bit older than me, but I'm hoping that someone's told you,
Thanks, Scotty.
just don't mix your cheeses, man. Right? I mean, fine for a couple, but 6, and that's dangerous ground, my friend.
Well, we'll see how we got on.
So, bit of mechanics. I've been nibbling and sipping in the background. Maybe just a quick first observation. I'm going to say Parmesan is probably one of the most multi-purpose cheeses because I've never actually really sat and chewed on it. I'm putting it on
Yeah, right.
pasta. But my gosh, is it not a great cheese just to nibble?
It's
like,
gorgeous.
Quite gritty.
yeah,
Yeah.
That salty deposits are the best.
yes.
What?
That salty deposit is the best.
Salty deposit.
Yeah, so you'll see if you pick up a piece of Parmesan, and Rob watched the VPub. So
I can't remember what the technical name for it was.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
know
a
it.
brilliant thing for us to do, but obviously you were the only one that bothered, Rob, but I didn't do it either.
I do my homework.
But there is a kind of
I just
there's
forget
like
it.
that grittiness, the little kind of white deposits. It's almost like salt crystals in the Parmesan, right? And it gives it a wee bit of texture. It's not particularly salty, but you do get it there. And I absolutely agree with you, Gregor. Parmesan is a delight of a thing.
Right. So just to say, how are we starting this, and what we pairing with what?
And well, so yeah, I was
Am
going
I,
to go.
getting, am I getting ahead of the game?
No, you're right. I think let's align. Firstly, the mechanics here: cheese first, then the whiskey,
Yeah.
or whiskey, then the cheese.
Yeah.
I go cheese.
So that wasn't a yes or no and question, Gordon.
I go for cheese first. I've obviously done chocolate pairings before and things like shortbread, but I would think cheese first to coat the mouth and then the whiskey.
Right. So then,
That-
second question to that would be, are you trying to leave a little bit of cheese in your mouth when you come to the whiskey, or are you basically just relying on the residual environment?
I would say, well, you could do a bit of both. I mean, I've not done a cheese and whiskey pairing before, but I would say that residual, you've swallowed the cheese, it's there, the oiliness is there.
Okay.
take the dram on top of that. But
Okay.
by all means, we can always keep a wee bit in the old gob and see what
Yeah.
works.
Good.
Like a cheesy
Keep it in
gob
the
stopper.
gob.
Any other questions before we get into it? And I think
I've got
We
a
get
question.
started.
I'm going to
I've
say.
got one question.
All right, go for it.
I'm opening myself up to ridicule here, right? But I'll do it anyway. Are we cutting off the white bit off the brie?
No. It's a fair
It
question.
depends. It's a totally personal preference. Gordon.
Yep.
I like
Is
I
it?
like the rind on it, but some people don't. It's a personal thing. Whatever you want. Doesn't
What is it though?
It's just the right. It's just a soft rind, isn't it? It's
soft
just
rind. It's totally edible. It's just
Yeah.
It won't. I mean, by all means, if you got a big end bit, I would maybe cut the end bit off. But try both.
think
I
it's
would,
all
I would
good.
say it's up to you, mate. Whatever you fancy.
All right,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough.
Gordon, give it a go. I think you should just dive in.
I used to scoop the brie out and separate it from the rind,
Mhm.
and now I just slice it up and pelican it. Scotty's right. If you get a bit too much rind versus cheese,
Yeah.
a wee bit more challenging. But there's ways to cut it so that you can evenly distribute the rind versus cheese.
Oh,
I just cut it with my
And
teeth.
this has been scientifically proven, by the way. As Roy's comment there, that's from a paper that was submitted to university back in 1956.
How to slice
technical
your brie.
cheese cutting.
All right,
Yeah.
Roy. What do you think? How about you suggest what cheese we go first, and then which whiskey?
Well, if you ask me that again so that we can hear you.
So, Roy, what I'm asking is,
There's the slight threat in Roy's voice. It was like the iron fist in a velvet glove.
I know.
There's real menace behind that.
He's been shouting at us to keep our faces in the
That's
mic.
true.
I know.
It's
What-
true. It's true.
Roy, what would be great is if you can maybe suggest what cheese do we go first and what do we pair up? And then I think it's good if we almost cross that whiskey off. You say, right, we can't try anything else with that, and then we just run through, and then we can just go for a free for all.
And then start mixing it up, right?
Aye.
Well, I mean, I don't have any intelligence or wisdom there other than to suggest that we maybe follow what you would normally follow maybe in a whiskey tasting lineup, and that
Yeah.
tends to be lighter flavours, ABV lower, to larger ABVs, that kind of thing. Anyway, I know that we're all over the place. Some of us have got really high ABV bourbon cask picks. Some of us have got lighter ones. Glenmorangie 10 is doing at 40, 43. But Gordon's sitting there with a 60% or Ardnamurchan, right? But I would
But
suggest
profile.
that, yeah, I would suggest that the bourbon matured Scotch would be a good one to start with. I've got that lined up just now with my cheddar.
Oh,
Cheddar.
To see how we got
Bring
on.
it on. So cheese first, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's raise a glass because this is just pure decadence. Friday night,
This is
hanging out with
indulgence.
you boys and cheese
Also,
and whiskey.
complete
I'm in
car
heaven.
crash material. I love it.
This is what we're here for.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
cheers.
So mine, I'm just trying to fill. I'm trying to fill the dead air. My cheddar is smoked, so it's an interesting dynamic. So I've got a smoked cheese with quite a clean whiskey.
Now, you said in the intro, or last week, mild cheddar, but in the brief it said mature cheddar. Is there a difference here?
Mature tends to be a bit stronger, so it was a bit of an oxymoron, I guess.
Well, I normally buy medium cheese because it's just for the family. It's for everybody. So
I just got Parma Violets. Wow.
from the whiskey or the cheese?
Interesting.
The two. So I ate a bit of cheddar and then a bit of Ardnamurchan, and it was like potent Parma Violet wee sweetie.
Yeah, I used Parma Violets at the Whiskey Club on Monday night, and people were having conniptions.
What is a part? What's a white one? A what?
Well, hang on a minute. You don't know what a Parma Violet is?
No, not really.
It's the wee kind of are they lavender flavoured or no?
Yeah.
They're violet flavoured, right?
Is it one of
Yep.
the chalky? Is it like one of those chalky, like a love heart
Yeah.
type ones?
Yes.
I hate them. I hate
No.
all
They're
that.
wee, they're wee kind of lilac coloured.
It's a tube that has two concave sides.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate them.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
stuff you.
I love them.
I hate them
I love
yet. I hate them yet.
You've not tried it with Ardnamurchan?
No,
I
but
haven't
that
learned to
combination,
love them yet.
brought that out for you. That's good.
Wow,
Mine's
yeah.
gone all my fruity Linkwood's gone all floral and like cut grass almost. Like it's really weird. It kind of started off really sweet and then it kind of went just nosediving. Do you know when you like if you've ever like cut flowers or like cut this like do you trim the ends of stems of flowers and you kind of get it in your hands and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I had this recently actually.
Earthy.
Maybe it's just a note that stuck with me, but like Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know if anybody else is getting it, but with it, the whiskey is exactly as you expect the whiskey to be. You have a piece of cheese, you go back to the whiskey, and suddenly the texture of the whiskey, obviously because of the oils and the fat that's been left on your palate, the whiskey is just so textured and silky and oily. I don't know if anybody's noticing that.
I'm trying to keep my head above the waves here. This is ludicrous.
It's bonkers. The whiskey's lively for me.
Yeah,
It's quite vibrant.
So this Longmorn I've got, what the cheese is doing is just adding a kind of real salty kind of edge to it. But it's also, it's more, as Roy, as you said, it's more of a texture thing as well. Apart from the salt, I'm getting a little bit of creaminess on it. But it's the texture, the way that the whiskey's actually just really just clinging to my mouth now. But the salty edge isn't unpleasant at all. But I'm losing the. I mean, I've gone for a fairly mature cheddar. It's kind of overpowering this one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not really tasting the Longmorn anymore. I can't really figure out any of what I know from this bottle. And I've been through a couple of these bottles before, so. But it's nice. It adds a kind of. I know what you mean. It makes it a bit zingier. It kind of the citrus notes are coming through much more for me on the taste.
It's weird. I'm getting a salty whack from the cheddar, and then a sweet surge from the whiskey, and then the sour finish from the cheese and the whiskey. So it's like the sourness is amplified because you've got that kind of cheesy sourness on the finish. So it's like a real journey.
I'm totally getting that sour note.
Yeah, me too.
On the finish. Now you mentioned that, Gordon. Yeah.
Let me ask, Gordon, have you sat down and had cheese and whiskey before?
No.
Right, okay. So I mean, that's a good thing to start with, because I think the big takeaway for anybody listening tonight is not the kind of ins and outs and of every kind of wee bullet point that we come out with, but is this a fun or good thing to do?
Oh yeah.
So I know we've only just started, but it's my hope that all of you go away saying, "No, I would do that again." I know we're only just in the
I mean, it's interesting. I don't want to start rocking the boat because it's early doors, right? But
yeah.
what I would say is, like, I'd be interested later on to try the Brie with this, because I think that the Brie doesn't have as much that upfront flavour you get with a cheddar. So I wonder if that'd be much more a texture led thing with the Brie, and maybe the vanilla notes from a bourbon cask would come out a bit more. I don't know. I'm just maybe getting ahead of myself.
Sorry, I'm breeze. Sorry, the breeze in the mouth.
Aye.
It's in the giddy.
In the name of science, Roy just hoovered a big chunk of Brie there.
Aye, he's no fault.
We'll come back to that experiment. Am I the only one? You know, the more strong the cheese is, I almost perspire from the temple and the scalp. Do anyone else get that?
Cheese sweats.
Cheesy sweats.
Aye.
No,
It's
just
only at 1 minute past midnight. That happens.
All right, just me.
right.
I think it's the umami hit.
What is, this aversion you have? I remember you freaking out every night in Isla when we were bringing in the cheese board late at night, and you were just like, "Nobody's listening. No cheese."
Nobody. Well, it's just it's common sense, right? You don't have cheese after midnight, right? So on Isla, we had plenty of drinks. Got to after midnight, and then we were out of crisps, right? And there's no exaggeration, a bit of panic setting, right? And somebody mentioned we'll get cheese, and that's alarm bells, right? Because anyone who's eaten cheese, right, and a large amount of cheese before they hit the hay, will have the most terrifying, awful dreams, right? The worst dreams ever. Dreams that that you wake up in the morning and a dream is a feeling and it fades.
Yeah.
And suddenly you can't remember it.
Yeah.
Not a cheese dream. No, you remember that for the rest of your life, right? So, and it's not a nice dream, right? It's not a nice dream. Not that you're
Cheese has
flying
run
above
out.
clouds and you're flying above distilleries and this is great. It's big tentacle beasts coming after you, right? So the cracks you're running along the cracks in the pavement are chasing you. That kind of dream, right? So it's like decaffeinated coffee is the same thing. And if you were to cross the stream and have decaf coffee and a plate of cheese, I'm not sure if you ever recover from that, to be honest. So just a friendly word of warning.
The quotable there was, what was it? The cracks in the street are chasing you.
The
That
cracks in
kind
the
of thing.
pavement.
Aye, and you can't escape. Aye,
That's amazing. That's your
not
next
amazing,
T-shirt.
Gregor. It's a real thing, right? And you
No,
need to
that's
watch
your
yourself.
next T-shirt. Right, let's move on to the next cheese. I think in the spirit of embracing newness and noobs, Rob, how about you choose the next cheese to go with? I'm assuming we're going to go sherry next.
Yeah.
Okay.
In normal whiskey order, but wow. So my initial instinct was Parmesan, but I'm almost tempted to go blue. I feel like really strong and really strong all at the same time. Is it going to just destroy our palate?
No, I'm.
Sorry, can I just say, Rob, are you trying to break me? Blue cheese and sherry. This could be the end.
I'm ready to go. Like,
But I'm going to do it.
yeah,
So we're
we all
going.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Ignore
Let's
the
go.
I'm so sorry.
Seriously, blue and is that what we're doing? Blue cheese.
go.
Cherry.
Let's
Sounds
go.
like it. It's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh,
I'm going.
holy moly! Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I'm fighting for my life here.
Whoa!
For me,
Oh wow.
it dominates. I can barely even get the sherry.
I don't know what's going on.
I guess that's the best
No.
thing about it. You can't taste the sherry.
That's wow.
That's brutal.
That is brutal. You're right, Scotty.
Yeah.
That is brutal.
It's all right after first sip. First sip, you don't really get much. Second sip, it's all right.
I like like cheese and grapes. It's almost like like cold black, like red grapes.
I've actually got to say that
No.
the finish of it, actually, to be fair, was quite nice. It's adding to me quite a kind of dark note, richness. It's not. I'm not getting on the Edredale 12 on its own. It's got this kind of. Is it maybe elongating the finish of it a wee bit? It gives a kind of nice slightly salty, dark edge. If that makes any kind of sense.
It's like the
But
blue
initial
cheese
hit-
is like riding on the finish of the whiskey.
Yeah,
It's kind
the
of like
initial
just
hit
leading it
though
on and on.
is not worth the payoff, right? The initial hit is everything that you everything I feared, right? And I do notice the fact that you're all laughing at me, right? And it's
No, laughing with you.
Sherry and blue cheese for
sherry and blue cheese. Honest to Christ. Right, anyway, but the finish is. I'm going to try it again. No, I'm not.
You are. You're going back in. You have to.
I'm doing it.
It gets better, Scotty. It does get better.
Well, okay.
Gordon, what did you think of the combo? What did you think of the two?
I thought. I mean, cask strength. Cask strength Aberlour with really potent blue cheese is really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. You know, it's just a wave of just stuff, just permeating every sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then eventually it subsides to just like sweet sharp. And Scotty's face.
What would you what just from your gut? What would you have sooner paired with that? Just out of curiosity.
I would probably went with the Parmesan because I feel like the saltiness would have offset the overt sweetness and richness of the sherry.
That's interesting, man. Because I was thinking that the peated whiskey might work with that, just because of the saltiness.
That's what
dark
mine.
note
When
I'm
I said
getting.
it, I was like, "Well, I
Yeah.
want the Parmesan with the peat, but what else goes with the sherry?"
Well, salt with salt.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
feel like
just
you
give
need
it-
that balance.
Possibly, yeah, I know what you mean. But I
See,
wonder if it
I,
might
feel, I
help.
feel like I've got insider info here
Oh, aye.
because when we did the V pub, the only thing I can remember from the V pub is that one cheese went with every whiskey, and one whiskey went with every cheese. I'm not going to share what that is because obviously,
Oh, so you're just teasing.
Aye.
aye. But
Right.
just so I'm kind of a wee bit influenced by that, which is why I just need to bite my tongue and kind of just let this go. I felt that the blue cheese, the sherry, the fruity, rich sherry whiskey made blue cheese much more challenging, and I love blue cheese. I'm already on record as saying that, you know, that Sanagur that you've got, Scott, we use
Aye.
that for steak
Yep.
sauce in the house. You just get a wee saucepan and heat up some cream, right? And you just dollop that in a chunk at a time. And you melt it. And you need something in there. You need a wee bit of acidity in there. So some people add a wee bit of vinegar or whatever.
So-
There's lots of things you can add, but that's what we do. Unfortunately, I have to buy 2 packs of the Sanagur because I'm making the blue cheese sauce. And I just get slab by slab of that cheese and just eat it as I'm cooking. I adore that
But
flavour.
with that said, the sherry killed it for you.
No, the sherry didn't kill it for me, but the sherry made me not. Well, I'm not eating Sanagur. Sanagur is much creamier than this. This is quite a dry, waxy Stilton I've got here. The Sanagur is much creamier, but it's still got that kind of that blue cheesy, challenging flavour that you come to adore. But the sherry made the cheese worse. The sherry whiskey made the cheese worse.
I've got to say, I'm loving this, right? Because Rob suggests sherry and blue cheese, and then Roy's admitted he had insider info and then said it made the blue cheese worse. But go on, Monroe. You have a wee taste of that. What's the worst that can happen?
Is it? Sorry, can I just? So I was like, I'm backing out. I'm not. I've had 2 bits of blue and a bit of sherry. It's not working, really.
Yeah,
I'm backing out. I'm going for a
Well, let's hope that the blue
strawberry.
cheese gets
I'm going for
another.
strawberries and sherry.
Yeah.
Oh,
It still doesn't work. Is sherry just a really poor whiskey to be pairing things with? Or is it hard to pair things with?
Sherry, and I've found sherry whiskies and shortbread are a wonderful combination.
Absolutely.
You get that oiliness from the shortbread and the sugar. With
Just works. Just works.
It's a really good thing, like, and it's lovely.
I'm getting like a carpet shop. You know, that really chemically.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's ace.
All right, just
fresh
indulge me.
carpet.
Yeah.
grab a wee chunk of your Parmesan. Just tear off a chunk of Parmesan.
I'll slice it delicately.
No, Parmesan is great just to tear.
What?
I know.
Yeah,
I can't
just
tear,
tear
I can't
it.
tear my Parmesan.
What? How?
You can. Of course you can. Just
How
break
can you
off-
tear cheese?
You can
Just
break.
break
You
off
can
chunk
break
by
it.
chunk.
You can't tear.
Okay, jeez. Whoa.
Listen, this is
Cheese.
Roy. Roy
Cheese.
Roy can rip an old telephone book in half with his bare hand. I've seen it.
Just break it into chunks. I just,
Wow.
you know, it doesn't.
Aye, honestly.
it's nice.
I take
would
it back.
Parm.
That is.
You've said
Parm
it.
and sherry, yeah.
Parm. Honestly, I think. Spoiler. I think we know. Parm is the thing that goes with everything.
Yeah, that works.
That's gorgeous.
Is it just
take it
me?
back.
Is it just me, or am I? Is it just because I've got a druth? I'm drinking the whiskey a lot faster than normally when you're dramming.
It's not just you. The sherried whiskey, I'm going to need to go for a top up.
Me too.
I'm topping up now too. That's why I went for lower proof because I feel like it.
So the Parmesan and sherry, that works better.
Yes.
It's delicious. It really that saltiness in the sherry, like mine's quite.
So I think
Sherry.
I think the game here is going to be finding what blue cheese works with and finding what Parmesan doesn't work with.
Right.
I'm excited if it works with a bourbon.
Yes, the sweetie.
But see what we're experiencing now with this Parmesan and sherry backwards and forwards. Are you not kind of quite delighted by the fact that the whiskey amplifies the cheese and the cheese amplifies the whiskey?
Symbiotic.
As a flavour experience, it's quite exciting.
Yeah,
It's an interesting thing. I've been to a tasting. It was during Fashil 2017. Douglas Lang had a dinner at the Bridge Inn Hotel, and every course was paired with a whiskey. I must look out the menu from that night because I've still got it. And that was an amazing experience because it wasn't just about what we're doing. They had like peat burning in little holders. Blindfolded you. They made you like rub like sandpaper blindfolded while you had a Springbank 18 from one of their selections. And the whiskeys all worked that night. But this is quite an interesting because I've only ever had sweet things with whiskey. Really, I mean, some dark chocolate with whiskey.
Yeah.
Shortbread, as I said, with whiskey as well. I mentioned sherry whiskey. Shortbread with any kind of whiskey works really well. So this is the first time I've really properly sat down with savoury, and compared and contrasted. And it's quite a jarring experience in some ways to me because I quite like sweet. I mean, me, I like bourbon cask. I quite like sweet whiskies rather than the savoury stuff. So that's extenuating that. So I'm finding that quite an interesting and quite a challenging thing because the two we've had so far, I have not warmed to them. Like it's not something I would with the cheeses we've paired. I would do again at the moment, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I don't know that anybody's got a particularly sweet cheese in a lineup. There's clearly a sweet whiskey here in the bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't mean the bourbon cask Scotch. I mean the bourbon.
Yeah.
But we don't. I don't have a sweet cheese.
So will we go with the bourbon next then?
I was going to say, let's do bourbon and Scott. How about you choose the cheese?
Okay, just from what I said there, why don't we try the bourbon we've got with the Brie? Because I think the Brie is probably the least flavoured of the cheeses we have in front of us tonight. I wonder if as I said before, the texture might play a part more in this than the taste.
I was going to say I have a bit of a theory. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but I feel like the crumbly cheese is going to work better because I feel like, especially with that, my cheddar was really creamy. It kind of just coated my mouth completely, and I didn't really get much of the flavour as I would normally with the Linkwood I know. But I mean, both though, the finish completely changes and it just keeps going and going.
My Brie tastes like a permanent marker.
Is that the Brie that didn't come in a wrapper?
I am regretting having gone for the 50 pence Brie.
It's been lying there since Christmas 2018.
Not just that, I'm getting a flash of Gordon in his school days at the back of the class licking a marker.
You want to know what it reminds me of? When I was a wee boy, I got for my birthday, it was a toy car, just like a Hot Wheels. But it came with it was white, pure white, and it came with two permanent markers that you could decorate it yourself. And that's what I'm tasting with the cheese, the Brie.
Wow.
There you go. Just flashed
So
up in the...
My Brie's a goat's cheese, so there's a sharpness. Aye.
Right.
There's a sharpness. There's a sharpness to my Brie, which I think doesn't exist in most Brie, right? Brie is quite creamy. It's still soft. But
No, that's not good. No.
But I'll say this: my bourbon stands up to it. The bourbon shines.
There were chefs. There were older women chefs. Was it two fat ladies?
Yeah.
They used to talk about, and I love goat's cheese, but they ruined it for me for a while. I'm over it now. But they said, "Well, no, we really don't like goat's cheese because it tastes of urine."
No.
Yeah.
No way.
That's what they said. And so
Have they tasted urine then?
I know. So the next time that you taste goat's cheese, you're like, "Is this what piss tastes like?"
Goat's cheese on a pizza.
It's got you on you go.
Goat's cheese, walnut, pear, and a bit of honey on a pizza.
Oh,
amazing.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Goat's cheese and pear salad, walnut, superb.
Rob Roy, where are we at on the Brie and bourbon, the BBE?
I think my bourbon's too strong. It's overpowering the Brie.
Yeah.
It's getting more
Yeah,
textural
I agree with that.
than
Yeah.
anything else.
I don't
Again,
think
though,
the
the
Brie.
finish is... That's where it's happening for me more than often. Because it's just like... It's just more textural than it would be normally, maybe. But I don't know, it's just...
Brie's a strange one. I do love Brie. Like a baguette with Brie and butter on it, and that's it. Amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's working with whiskey because I think that even though we're having this with bourbon or whatever cask you're or whatever ABV you've got, I think everyone's going to overpower the Brie. To be honest,
Yeah, I agree. I think the Brie's just a wee bit too, just
It's a bit
mild,
too mild,
and
yeah.
soft, and just. I've finished mine actually, which is a shame because I wanted to crack a joke at the end. All that's left is debris. But I've gone and finished it. So if I want any more, if there's going to be any more Brie comparisons, I need to go nip up for a recharge. But I think honestly, I don't think we need it because I don't. There's nothing no other glass here that makes me want to try it along with the Brie. I think the Brie's just soft. And who suggested Brie?
I'm wondering if the
That was
Brie
me.
creaminess will match the peaty one quite well. Because that can be quite drying. And if you've got a creaminess there.
Well. Should we just jump to the peaty one?
let's do it.
I'll say this though, as I I like Rob's thing of the finish. It's almost like the second sip after is interesting. For me,
Yeah.
I got like the remnants of salted caramel ice cream with my
Oh,
bourbon, which
Yeah.
was not unpleasant.
It's interesting
Wait,
when I was
sorry. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, we can't gloss over the fact Gordon just popped his Stag Junior cherry. How did that go?
oh no! I've had this before.
Oh, my bad. My bad. All right.
I sampled lots before I'd sampled the wee sample.
Okay, got you.
Well, when I say lots, I sampled a couple of drams. I don't want to, I didn't rinse
Aye,
the
fair.
bottle that Roy gave to me that
No,
you
no,
gave
no,
to
no.
him.
Remind me, refresh me then on your opinion on Stag Junior.
Through the prism of cheese.
Well,
Because
just right now in this moment. No, through the prism of just this whiskey.
my see, I'm gonna make enemies here.
Mm-hmm.
My experience with
Gordon, yet.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to make enemies here yet. My experience with bourbon so far has been just kind of the top of a creme brulee. That's it. Burnt sugar.
That's all you get.
I
So you're
haven't
not-
learned how to love bourbon
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's interesting. I've tried
Mm-hmm.
a Stag Junior and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof side by side. As much as I love them both on their own, to me, the Stag Junior can't hold a candle to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Oh, really?
Just does not
Oh.
come close.
Oh,
Side by side, there's no comparison for me.
well, I will. What I will say to you, Scott,
But if you get any Stag Junior, geese it. Right? 'Cause
you'll,
I can't get it.
well, you'll probably agree that not all batches of ACBP are the same.
No, that's very true.
Stag Junior are the same.
That's very
So,
true.
so obviously, it's going to depend a lot on the two that you. And it might not be that individually we'd be able to tell which batch or whatever, but it might just be that the two batches that match up, brings out the best in another and the worst in something.
That's a
For
good
me,
point.
I'm amazed because I watch these bourbon channels in the States, and we're spoiled in Scotch whisky because the bandwidth of flavour, it's the old cliche compared to bourbon, is much, much wider. But I'm watching these guys on these bourbon channels picking out these tasting notes that make me think they're sipping stuff that's remarkably different from each other. And then I try a similar exercise and I immediately think that their palates are much more tuned than mine. Much more tuned. I'm not getting the same distinction that they're getting between a Knob Creek and a Buffalo Trace or a
But it'll be the same vice
Roses.
versa, won't it? If
Yeah.
you get a bourbon drinker who just drinks bourbon and gives you the Scotch,
right.
I would imagine it would be a similar thing. It would be maybe more basic notes they're picking out rather than what more experienced people from Scotch would drink. It's just the same vice. I mean, for me, bourbon, when you drink a good cast strength bourbon, the difference is there. But I think you just need to take your time with the bottle. I mean, like, what was Elijah Craig barrel proof aren't they cheap over here? And and they're so super high ABV. You have to make them last, right? So, but they last me like 5-6 years a bottle. But it takes that time to go through it and just kind of get used to it, sort of
Oh,
thing.
it's an absolute mood dram.
But
yeah.
then again, like a blind tasting, or not even a blind taste, just a tasting with like 4 or 5 different bourbons in front of you, like just going between them and adding water and taking them down and stuff like that is really interesting as well. But I love bourbon. I love it. But
But I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned ABV. For me, bourbon needs to be higher ABV. I just don't know why that is.
Yep.
It's light bourbon, 45% bourbon and under. 45 is probably about the cut off. You can get enjoyment at 45, but under 45%, it's hard for me to get much engagement. Are we going into the peat?
All right, okay.
Sorry, I just with the bourbon, I just tried the cheddar just whilst I had a piece cut, and the finish just nosedive into bitter notes.
Oh,
It's really bizarre. It's fascinating all at the same time. But I think hard cheese is the way to go with whiskey.
Waxy cheese, hard waxy cheese.
Yeah. I really want to try like a Deanston or a Klein Leash with this. Maybe it's too much.
you're getting. I can't see so much of Gordon's camera now. He's descended into Smoker's Lounge, sort of speakeasy. I think we shared a photo one time of how comfortable Gordon's setup looked. Right, we're moving on to the smoked, the peated.
Yeah.
What cheese? What cheese? Because I think we've actually put everything on everything now. What cheese shall we start with the peated?
I think that this is the best chance for the blue cheese.
For the blue.
I've just
Blue.
tried it. With the
Just
blue
tried it?
cheese. I'm not having it.
You're not okay.
No.
I'm going in. I'm going to do blue. Blue with smoky.
Aye, me too.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put a light on so you can see me. Here we go.
We don't need to see.
Oh wow.
Thank you.
Wow. I'll say this: my peat. What was it? 53.5. What age was this?
Wow.
It was young, right? I can't remember.
Oh, God, no. Absolutely not.
Gorgeous.
I'm just going to say my peat holds up.
Absolutely not.
I'm not put off by this.
That is
Mine is
amazing.
working fine.
Nope,
Mine is working
absolutely not. Listen, whoever suggested this needs arrested immediately.
Gordon, did you like blue cheese beforehand?
No, I didn't. I'm not a cheese fan, but this is just an exercise in chewing a bit of charcoal. It's horrible.
Right,
Right,
how
so
do I
I've gone
mute
down
his
a-
channel?
I've been doing another route. Right, I went back to I'm not at the cheddar for a while, so I went cheddar with my Lachig 10, and it's just not happening either. No,
Oh, really? I've just
again,
followed you.
It just kind of overpowers
Right.
even the peat from that.
Oh no, it's no.
My blue cheese and peated whiskey was not my favourite, but it's not offensive. It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
I'm having a
Either-
great
either
time with the
direction.
blue cheese and peated.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that down to your Lachig, Scott, because my Lagavulin worked with both the blue
Well, I guess
cheese
maybe-
and my smoked cheddar.
So the Lagavulin 16, I was like, it's got a sweeter edge to it than this Lachig. This Lachig's obviously pretty sharp up front, whereas there's a bit soft. The Lagavulin 16 is a bit softer and a bit sweeter. So maybe that's
Right. So I know you've just taken a piece there, Scotty, but grab a chunk of your life ring Parmesan.
cool.
Is that what you've done? Superb. And it's just everything's going to be cured.
I know blue cheese is like a challenging cheese on its own anyway, but I don't know, maybe it's because I've got like quite a light peat. It's not like a slap in the face Isla, but I think it just mellows together really well.
Okay, so what that's done is it's kind of rounded the corners a wee bit of the Lachig. Added quite a nice bit of creaminess to the back end, and a wee kind of salty tang, which goes well with the peatiness. Yeah, I think that combination works better.
Has anyone tried the Parmesan with the bourbon yet?
No,
No. I just wanted to say, though, I followed Scott down the Parm to peat. It was pleasant. It was nice. It tamped down the peat for me.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
cheddar and the brie, I still got the peat, but it neutered the peat for me.
Yeah, me
Whether
too.
that's a good or bad thing.
Almost like cancelled it out a little bit.
So where are we at? We're thinking bourbon and Parm now, just as a wee tester.
I've got one chunk of Parmesan left, and then I'm on to the Manchego. That's all I've got left. Well, unless I get out my seat and get some more.
What's the Manchego?
Spanish cheese. I think it's sheep's.
Oh, you'll love a Manchego. Get the older Manchego though, Gordon.
Well,
Mature,
to
bit
be honest,
better.
in Scotland, buddy, you just need to grab whatever Manchego you can get. There's not you don't get much choice of it.
That's just
But
like
in
strawberries
Spain,
and fruit.
it's usually cut into a wedge with a dark rind around it. And what they do in Spain is they'll slice it into really thin triangles, and they'll serve it with Iberico ham and it's just
Magic.
sublime. It's just sublime.
Don't eat the rind on that one, Gordon. No, that's
Oh,
I would
right,
say
okay.
that's inedible rind.
Yeah,
That
I think
was
it's
good.
edible, but it's not pleasant. Yeah.
No, cardboard. The Parm and bourbon, no bad.
it's okay.
Doesn't it blow my socks off?
No, I'm not having it. It's gonna,
I'm really excited to see what everyone's favourite is because this is so divisive, isn't it?
it's gonna given the bourbon I've here. It's really kind of brought the acetone notes for me. Those kind of high end notes made it a bit more sour as well. No, I'm not happy.
Let me just tear another bit off.
I'm going cheddar and bourbon now.
Right, I'll join you.
Gordon, what are you contemplating right now?
Ending it all.
So let's maybe round off a little. We'll go around. I'd like to hear everyone's favourite pairing. Gordon, I'll start with you because it sounds like you're at the lowest point.
I'm hitting
What-
rock bottom here.
What did you feel was the most successful pairing, or which one do you still want to try just to see if that can do it?
The most successful pairing for me was the first one. It was the
That was cheddar.
cheddar and the Ardnamurchan.
So cheddar and
The bourbon.
the bourbon.
Bourbon. Bourbon Scotch cask. It was just
Sorry,
bright,
bourbon.
bright purple deliciousness. Really, like, wow, this is great.
I think I managed to get a screenshot of you wielding your knife at us all.
Aye. I'll chib you. Scott, you look contemplative. Where's your head at on the most successful?
Well, I'm going to be completely upfront. I didn't enjoy any of that
Wow.
whatsoever. None of my whiskies were enhanced in any way by these cheeses. Not in any way whatsoever. Now, maybe I need to take a bit more time with it, but if I
Oh,
have,
fish.
if I have,
Have a wee chunk of Parmesan
I've, listen, I've been eating, I've tried.
and a wee sip of your Edredale.
Right, I'm going back in again.
Let's keep them trying. Let's keep them trying till
Right,
the
but what I
stroke
would
of
say
midnight.
is, right, the point of pairing whiskey with food, be it chocolate or shortbread or whatever it is to enhance it in some way, to give a different angle on it. The only angle I'm getting here is making things worse, right? So, but then again, we didn't start well, did we, boys? No, because we went for the blue cheese and the sherry.
That was Rob.
So that's instantly putting me right on the edge, right? So anyway, I'm going back in again.
I did try to.
You didn't try very hard, Roy, right? So, but it's
I know
all
I
good.
didn't try hard enough.
So I'm gonna
I'm
say the only dram for me that blue cheese worked was actually the peated.
Yes.
I'm going to say
And I-
the complete opposite, Gregor.
That's absolutely, it's a free world. Mute his microphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
It's free to shout being wrong loudly.
Aye.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll not say
No,
it.
just let me do my round up.
I beg your
And,
pardon. I do apologise.
And I would probably say yes, Parmesan is the most democratic cheese.
Yeah.
Albeit, I don't know if I'm going back on myself. I don't know if I liked it with the bourbon,
Oh.
but that was just me.
I think that should be on triangles of Parmesan from now on. The democratic cheese. I would say that I followed the instructions there, having some Parmesan with the sherry. That combination works not too bad. I'd maybe say that might be my favourite. However, it would. I don't know why I would have that and not just have a glass of sherry whiskey or a block of cheese. I don't think
Just so you can get through the sherry eventually.
in some. That's true enough, but it's not making it better. It's not to me.
Right.
None of these enhance. Maybe it's my bad choice of cheese or the whiskey I have, but none of the cheeses I've had with any of these whiskies has enhanced it in any way.
Fair
I'm
play.
sorry.
Well, that's all right. Rob, where are you leaning in this experiment?
I agree. The Parmesan is the most democratic. It works with everything. The salty notes in it. It just seems to sit really well with all of them. I'm going to go out and say that sherried whiskey doesn't work with any of them. I don't think I tried it with Parmesan. I just don't. Maybe it's because we're both having Edgedour, Scotty. Maybe that's it. Because it is quite
Possible.
it's a really intense sherry. I feel like maybe like something a bit lighter, like the Glenturret 12 might be better. But for me, tonight, it's not working. And I like blue cheese. It's one of my favorite cheeses. The peat and the blue cheese is one I would go back to. The rest of them haven't been enhanced. It's just it's been enjoyable to try them, but I feel like that's changed things for me is the blue cheese and the peat. But then again, it's a It's not an Isla peat either. It's quite a sweet peat. So maybe that does something to it. Yeah, I think it's gorgeous.
Roy, what about yourself? What have you learned?
I'm in heaven. I love this. Absolutely love it. Some of the contrasts going backwards and forwards don't work well, but there are a few that have made me go, that's just awful. The blue cheese is challenging with lots, but I find the blue cheese, this dry Stilton that I've got tonight with the heated one, is probably fits best, but not perfect. I think that a creamier blue cheese might work a wee bit better. I'm not sure. I don't know. I need to play a bit more. For me, that Glenturret 12, the only thing it didn't work with tonight is the smoked German cheese that I pulled that you guys didn't even ask for. The sherried Glenturret works with everything. My least favourite is the blue cheese, and then cheddar. And sorry, we have forgotten the Brie that I've finished, right? But cheddar, the Manchego and the Parmesan I had, it just superb with that Glenturret, superb. I struggled to find a match for the bourbon. Bourbon is just so overtly what it is. It's just so overtly bourbon, right? It's just, I couldn't find something that sat well, but the Parmesan did the best job. Parmesan did the best job with the bourbon as well. But I'm just the type that would be sitting there late at night, you know, their cheese board in the middle of the table, whoever's left sipping whiskey and cheese, and just taking whatever chunk comes next and just randomizing it and just enjoying it, and using the ones that don't work so well to contrast and amplify the ones that do work really well. But for me, sherry and Parmesan tonight was just knockout. Superb. Love it. The sherry is amplified and the cheese is amplified.
Gordon, I feel like I need to round out with you because have you
Ready.
started to find the will to live again?
The blue cheese and the peat was just not on. Not on any level. No level it was on. It was all off. The only thing that I've found is the cheddar with the Arnhem, you know, that really bright tropical whiskey with that nice, rich, generic cheese. Great. The Parmesan was good with the sherry. Not my favourite. Nothing worked with bourbon at all. It all just came into a big dirge. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I like Scott is saying, I don't think any of the whiskies have been enhanced. I guess I'm quite a purist when, you know, whiskey is whiskey and you drink whiskey and that's the whiskey's the thing, that's the product. Sometimes I'll have a cracker or I'll have a pretzel and that'll be good. But when it comes to really bold, like they're quite inert textural things and just give you a kind of palate equalizer. Cheese is its own entity, and to try and smoosh those things together for me, I'm finding it quite challenging.
Scott, what did you say you've done a chocolate and whiskey?
Yeah,
pairing?
Do
you think
chocolate whiskey? Yeah,
Do you think Gordon might find something in that?
I think so. Because it depends on your palate, though, doesn't it? I mean, I've got a sweet tooth, and I quite like the balance of. I do think that chocolate can enhance a whiskey. Same as, you know, be it dark or milk, and you know, there's plenty of these things. You know, there's what's the chocolatier up, Aberfeldy way.
Oh, the Highland chocolatier.
Yeah, so like he does a tasting set. He's made chocolates to go with a certain dram sort of thing. So and they're expensive, but it's good fun to do. But that again, that's not a scientific thing. I had a chocolate and whiskey pairing at Kalila right before Kalila closed for its refurbishment, and that was like salted caramel chocolate and stuff like that. I need to look back and see what they were, but that was from the Highland Chocolatier as well. And the drams we had that day, there was like the unpeated 18-year-old Kalila to some peated stuff as well, a Fischl bottle. Those worked, and those really worked. But again, it's that my palate. To me, a chocolate and whiskey pairings are more natural thing than a cheese and whiskey. Cheese and wine, sure, but cheese and whiskey, I'm not sure. I think the trick is getting the balance, whether that's ABV or style with a certain cheese. What we've done tonight is we've kind of had a scattergun approach to different cheeses along similar lines, different whiskies along similar lines. I think to get the perfect balance, it'd be a bit more nuanced and take a bit more investigation, if you know what I mean, to find that perfect balance. Because we're talking here about, I'm trying to pair stuff with a 68% bourbon or a 46% Edredauer or whatever it's going to be. So I'm not saying it can't work. I just think it needs a little bit more focused, if you know what I mean. So to find those kind of flavours, which I think chocolate in general works with whiskey, no matter if it's bourbon, refill, or sherry, whatever it is. Maybe not peated. I've not done a. I mean, the peated stuff we had, Kalila was a salted caramel. When it worked quite well, it gave a kind of edge to it. But in general, I would steer clear of peated whiskey and chocolate. But again, sweet tooth bourbon cask matured with some chocolate, it's magic,
Yeah. No, all good. All good. Let us know in the comments how you've got on with trying to do similar. We'd love to hear how you got on. Maybe share what successes or less than ideal outcomes there were. Also, let us know if you'd like to invite Gordon back on for that chocolate pairing as a bonus episode one season. No, this has been fun. I've loved it. I would say there was probably
just hearing what Scotty was saying. I think we need to do it. I think we need to do a chocolate one. For me, an interesting thing is that I know you've got a sweet tooth, Scotty, but the dark chocolate, the bitter chocolate, works best.
Yeah,
even Tabasco chocolate, salted chocolate, all of these
chili
things work well.
Yeah.
Sweet chocolate, milk chocolate, creamy chocolates, it can be a bit more hit and miss, I think. But I think if this goes down well with listeners, I'd love to do a chocolate thing. That would be much easier to pair up because we could do it by brand, right?
Yeah, and also if that's successful, I'm up for doing a kebab and whiskey pairing as well.
Oh, now you're in season finale.
Yeah, don't give it all away for season 3.
Okay,
good stuff. Well,
but you know what? Can I just say, even though that didn't really do it for me, I'm glad I did it because it's something I would probably not have done before.
Yeah,
to do with you guys and have a bit of discussion about what we're doing and what we're trying, what we're tasting, has made it a really worthwhile thing for me as well. Like, and I'm not saying I'd never do it again, but it's just for me, it just didn't quite click. But I'm happy I did it.
Yeah,
I'm happy you did it too.
Thank you.
Roy, on the Veeple with it was said it's easy to do it wrong.
Yeah.
It's easy not to like.
It's all about balance, isn't it? It's about balance.
Absolutely.
Well, the girl that we had on the V Pub that night, and I reached out to her for this tonight, but I think she's on holiday or she's actually maybe hosting a tasting.
Phoebe.
But we had Phoebe on, and she was incredible, right? Because she's just this energy, and she loves it all.
Great.
She's
She's
into whiskey,
she was
she's into
great.
cheese, and it just so having her to kind of lead us a little bit. Whereas tonight we've just kind of been sitting there poking around with our fat fingers in the dark, which is, like you said, absolutely spot on. It's been fun, but we're probably blind leading the blind. Having said that, I think I've enjoyed the flavour play tonight more than anybody else.
I'm also going to say, like Gregory, you mentioned about listeners, if they leave comments about combinations that work for them, that they go back to time and time again, that'd be really helpful as well. Something that we can maybe, because I'm all for revisiting this at some point as well, with a bit more focus on it. I don't know, but all good.
I agree. Awesome. Well, before we go into and roll out with our I Am a Distillery, maybe just a quick heads up for next week or whenever the podcast launches. We're going to kick off I don't know if we can say it's annual or not, the Dramface face-off whiskey bracket.
Yeah.
As a little preempt for that, you'd do well to sort of draw up a top 5 and a top 5 subs recommendations or your favourite distilleries. We'll give you the full skinny and the full brief on that on the next episode, but just seed that now. Should be fun.
It's going to be good fun.
Yep.
Gordon.
Yes, sir.
You promised us a cheesy I Am a Distillery.
Okay, I'll do my best. I really hope that you don't get this on number 2.
It's all good, man.
Not a
It's all
chance.
good.
Right.
We're 2 weeks worth of drams in and a slab of cheese. It's a mess.
Okay, here we go. I am a distillery. I was originally founded in the late 19th century.
Ardnamurchan.
That's you out of the game, innit?
Aye.
Aye.
Shot my shot.
Shortly after founding, my roof went for a walk. That same roof was then secured with metal strips due to a rise in theft from above. Okay.
I feel like if we'd have got the last one, we'd have got that one. Superb. Continue, buddy. Sorry.
At one point, someone paid £300 to buy me.
Glengyle.
My reconditioned mill separates out 4 tons of malted barley per hour, barley which has undergone 6 hours of drying over peat and 30 hours of drying over hot air. You okay, Scotty?
Scott's eyes are bleeding.
I've got terrible hay fever. Carry on.
My stills were originally backups for Ferrentosh Distillery, which operated for only 6 years before being closed and subsequently demolished.
Yeah, sure.
Not the original Ferrentosh.
Scott, did you say something there? I heard a
So
wee
I said
murmur.
Ayrshire because I'm thinking about Rabbie Burns and Ferrentosh.
Aye. But because he lamented the loss of Ferrentosh.
Yeah.
And the agreement of tax-free whiskey production that they had that lasted for a hell of a long time, yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah, happy days.
From the door that leads to my production building, can you see the object that made me iconic? The name of my whiskey is derived from Scots Gaelic that means head of the lake of St. Kieran's Cell.
Roy's face.
Anybody?
I don't think it matters what I say now anyway because I think somebody's doing a wee happy dance. So I'm just going to just take the penalty and put it right over the bar because we know what the answer is. It's clearly Cavalan. Or Kincard Distillery, I should say.
I am Glengyle Distillery.
Well done.
Yeah, well done, buddy.
Roy, I'm glad you took that with your
Yes.
sort of
Humility.
reserve about that.
Yeah, it brought out my humble side. No, listen, I've been embarrassed week after week after week after week and celebrating far too early and all that stuff to go reasonably early and actually pick it up. Glengyle.
Nice one. Well done.
Superb. Well done, Roy. Congrats. Listen, if you, the listener, don't want Roy to be on the hook for the next one, by all means, send me one. Time for a dram, all one word, at gmail.com. Or by all means, dial the dramaphone. We just put a fresh tape in. We're waiting for you. Chime in with a I am a distillery or anything, to be fair. Share your cheese, whiskey pairings. What do you suggest? Anything you'd like to see or hear, rather, in a future podcast, let us know. Gents, anything else before we round out?
No, just to say a lovely evening with you guys with some cheese and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, let's say, enjoyed the experience, and it's always nice to see you all and have a wee gab about whiskey.
Oh, you too, Scotty. And all.
Great.
It's
It's
been
been fantastic.
superb. Love
We
it.
look forward to this for a long time.
Yeah.
Good.
If
Good,
I'm
good,
going to
good.
burn an evening recording something, this
And
is how I want to do it.
Just to tell the listeners as well, we're wrapping this up about 25 to midnight, so we're okay.
The cracks in the
we
pavement will stay where they are.
They will stay exactly where they should be, right? On the ground.
We will report back if we have any.
Please do, but
disturbing
yes.
things.
Also, leave your comments if you also agree with me about that cheese after midnight is is the recipe for disaster.
Great stuff. Well, slanger you guys, and thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks, Gregor. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
For the record, Scott, that was 2 hours, bar the faff at the start, so we can do it.
Perfect. No, it's all good, man. Just need to take the whippersnapper out for his nightly shite. And then does he come? Then you have to walk him round the block about 18 times. I've got my Apple Watch on, and so it's like record outdoor walk. Sure. Just out for a quick pee with the dog, like 5.6 miles. So we got it done. Right, it's all good.